Hey everybody, Adam here. Wanted to let you guys know we are running a merch giveaway for the Poisoner's Almanac podcast. My wife has custom made 3 15-ounce coffee cups. One of them has a design of a foxglove silhouette, and on the other side of the cup it says Heart Stopper. Super cool looking graphic. The second cup, it's 3 cups total. The second one is Aconitum Nepellus, she's telling me, because I keep forgetting the second word of that name. And on the other side, it says Slay Queen, because it is the queen of poisons. Get it? And the third one is kind of a current TikTok trend. It says, thanks, I'll take the bear. I'll take the bear, thanks. And it's based on this TikTok trend about, would you rather be alone in the woods with a man or a bear? And so many female users are like, I'll take the bear, thanks. So if you know, you know. Anyways, to enter the giveaway, you got to follow my TikTok account where my wife and I have been posting content. The handle is @StudiesShow, all one word. Follow that account, comment comment with a tag of somebody you think might be interested in our content on TikTok, the podcast, or the giveaway. And also follow this podcast on whatever platform you happen to be listening to the podcast on. And we really appreciate you guys participating. We're going to choose 2 winners, and each winner will choose one of the 3 cups that they would like, and we'll get that sent to you. So thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for interacting on socials. Now to the episode. Welcome to the Poisoner's Almanac podcast. I am your co-host, Adam.
I'm Rebecca.
How are you today, my dear?
I'm tired because I feel like I say that every episode, but
You do.
I've crashed into the weekend as you know, per the norm.
Mm-hmm.
But our daughter had a sleepover last night. First sleepover actually that she's had here. And
it is the first one. I
yeah,
forgot about that.
And it was just a couple of 8-year-old girls screaming for no reason and throwing things at me. And yeah.
That's right. And you are like sensory overwhelm.
Yeah, I'm so tired.
Yeah, but now she is sleeping over at her friend's house this evening. And so maybe you'll have a chance.
We'll see. Because last time she called and had us come get her at like 9.
Exactly. I went and got her, matter of fact. Thankfully, she lives right down the street.
She does.
So it's really easy to get her out of the sleepover, but
today we came back home from her swim lesson, and I literally just laid on the bed and stared at the wall for 2 hours.
I saw you.
I was so tired. Like, my brain is on empty.
I didn't tell you this, but you were completely under your covers, head and everything. And I was walking by the bedroom door, and I literally snapped a 60-second video of you just being there under the covers. I didn't make a sound. And I'm going to post it on TikTok.
Was so exhausted.
And I'm going to give it some sort of David Attenborough dialogue. In the bushes, we see a native neurodivergent mother recovering from a sleepover.
Well, I think Camilla came in there too, and she wanted me to do something, so I literally just gave her my phone and said, "Go away." Love you so much. Go away.
Oh, and all the parents said, "We feel that, girl."
Yeah, and she did. She was fine. She was quite happy to do her own thing, but
that's right. I did get it may have been like 10 minutes or so, but I got some great quality time with her. What was it, yesterday afternoon? We were playing guitar together. I was reviewing the guitar chords that I've taught her. I play guitar, I'm a musician. And I showed her how to use a drinking glass to use it as like a slide play it like slide guitar. And she thought that was the coolest thing. I showed her how to play the harmonics on the guitar. That was super fun.
Well,
so.
I'm going to be using a drinking glass for something entirely different after this episode.
That's right. So you guys be on the lookout for that video where I just filmed a neurodivergent woman in the wild trying to recover from screaming 8-year-old children.
Well, as I do that, as I have my glass of wine later, I will be updating the Instagram.
Yes.
Because I'm the last 2 weeks I have been behind on getting that done because of the chaos that is life, but it's getting
Correct.
there. We're getting there.
Yeah, be sure to follow the Instagram account for the podcast, Poisoners_Almanac. Becca runs that account. She is going to be posting deep cut granular info on all of the poisons that we cover. So what are we talking about today, my dear?
We're going to talk about some not so happy little trees today. I have been wanting to do an episode on some trees that are quite poisonous or dangerous or both.
Yes.
For a while now. And these are not your Bob Ross trees.
Negative.
No. But yeah, we're going to discuss. I've got 4 trees that I want to talk about? Whatever. It's in my notes. Okay, it's been a rough few days.
Man, let's do it. What's our first tree?
Our first tree, we're going to talk about the manchineel tree, which
I texted you about.
Which is
because you love fun facts.
I do love fun facts.
And it is a great way for us to flirt in a way that goes straight to your cerebral cortex.
Sure. So the scientific name is...
She's overwhelmed with affection for me, just so you guys know, just in case you can't tell.
Okay. Hippomane manzanella, which is Latin for little apple that makes horses mad. So that's fun.
Okay.
These also go by the name...
I wasn't ready for that.
These also go by the name beach apples, and they can be found in Florida. They're native to the Caribbean, found in the southern parts of North America, like Florida, as well as the northern parts of South America. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm geographically confused, but please continue.
Awesome. Now, we are going to talk about a little bit of history with the manchineel tree because, well, let's just say the Spanish conquistadors called it Arbol de la Muerta, or the tree of death.
Oh.
They also referred to it as its fruit as Manzanilla de la Muerta, or little apple of death.
Ay, Dios mía.
Yes. And I hope I said that right. I took French, not Spanish, in school, so I don't...
You did pretty good, I think.
Did okay? Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm doing my best. Mm-hmm. Now, if these descriptions of the tree seem dramatic, just wait, because this tree and others we are going to be talking about are wild and have a very interesting history.
Okay.
So, Johann Zahn, which is a really great name, to be honest, was a 17th century German author, and he wrote in his Speculi Physico Mathematico Historica Notabilium ac Mirabilium Sciendorum. Please
okay.
Don't ask me to repeat that.
All right, that's enough out of that guy. Let's get...
That's the name of his book. Remember 17th century? Okay, I guess it was a thing.
But the whole title in Latin and that long? Is that normal for that time period? I don't know. That seems like overkill, man.
You know, I don't even care.
Okay.
Because I don't want to repeat it.
Okay.
So this is what he wrote. There is a tree in Hispaniola bearing apples of a very fragrant smell, which, if they are tasted, prove hurtful and deadly. If anyone abides for a time beneath its shade, he loses sight and reason and cannot be cured, save by a long sleep.
Ooh.
Mood, because I could use a long sleep.
And to that I say, mood, sir.
Yes. But let's go back a little further, because the earliest European record of manchineel trees was written by Diego Alvarez Chanca, I guess, a Spanish doctor who traveled with Christopher Columbus, jackass, to the New World. Said what I said, okay? To the New World. I reviewed
my words and I regret nothing.
On his second voyage in 1493. And let's talk about, Christopher Columbus. Did you have to learn about him a lot in elementary school?
Tons. It was 4 months of my elementary school life.
Yeah, I remember having to color and write about his ships.
The Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Santa
Maria.
Yeah, and I'm like, why do I? And even then, I'm like, why do I need to know the names of this dead guy's ships?
I don't know.
He didn't even know where he was going. Anyway, enough about him. So his second voyage, 1493, according to him, not Christopher Columbus. We're talking about the Spanish doctor here, Diego.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm. According to him, there were wild fruits of various kinds, some of which our men, not very prudently, I like how you wrote that, tasted, and on only touching them with their tongues, their mouths and cheeks became swollen, and they suffered such a great heat and pain.
Like heat as in fever?
No, like their mouths burned, basically. So we're going to talk a little bit about the tree itself, now that I've told you what some people thought about it years ago. Centuries ago, I guess you could say. The manchineel tree is part of the spurge family, which is, I mean, they're going to say this really right or really wrong. There's no in between. Euphorbiaceae. Okay, that was terrible. I cannot get my tongue to move the ways I need it to for this word. Euphorbiaceae. That sounded better. Euphorbiaceae. Okay.
I'm sure you nailed it.
That was, that hurt.
I'm an expert.
Now, this is the same family as the cassava, also the castor oil plant, Ricinus communis, which we will be talking about in a future episode.
Is that where ricin comes from?
Yes. Also the poinsettia, which is also poisonous. So all you Christmas lovers, don't eat that. Or mistletoe.
Oof.
Mistletoe is also poisonous.
That makes me so wary of any poinsettias at this point.
Mistletoe is also poisonous.
Yes,
and people,
it is. Yeah, I forgot that.
It, so.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe we'll talk about that one around Christmas time.
And 100%.
About the legends and lore that go along with it.
100%.
Now, the manchineel tree produces a highly irritating sap and a toxic fruit. The sap contains forbol, which can cause contact dermatitis and blistering of the skin.
That's not good.
As well as temporary blindness if you accidentally rub it into your eyes. Like say you have it on your hands and you accidentally touch your eyes. It can cause blindness. Even sitting under the tree is considered dangerous as the sap can fall or rain dripping off its limbs can cause irritation or blindness if it gets in your eyes.
Dude, steer clear.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Tough stuff.
Floridians, you stay away from this tree. I think there's actually like signs and they mark where these trees are too so that you don't.
Right, you did say they're native to Florida.
That's what I read. I don't know if the signs are everywhere, but.
Well.
So yeah, look out for this tree. Now, it's also advised not to park under the tree as it can cause damage to your paint.
That's nuts, dude. Paint? Mm-hmm. It will damage the clear coat on a car? Mm-hmm. I am shocked.
Yeah. Now, the fruit, while apparently sweet and juicy, because people have tasted it before, causes a blistering of the mouth and swelling of the throat so severe that it leads to an inability to swallow and or breathe properly. It also leads to severe gastroenteritis with bleeding, shock, infection, and possibly death, though no deaths have been recorded recently, so that's good.
Oh, okay.
Also, burning the tree will cause eye problems because if the smoke gets in your eyes, you can be blinded temporarily by that too.
So how
this tree is
how do you get rid of one if it's in a place it really shouldn't be? What do? You
just don't touch it or go near it.
Okay,
leave it alone.
Wow.
Now in 2000, which was that was 24
years ago.
Wow.
How old am I now?
A radiologist named Nicola Strickland wrote about her experience eating a beach apple, saying she and a friend were on holiday on the island of Tobago. Is that Trinidad and Tobago? I guess, yeah, the Caribbean. And while searching for shells on the beach, they came across some green fruit the size of tangerines, amongst some other stuff that were...
Okay, you just said the size of a tangerine. All I can think of is Michael Caine's line from The Dark Knight when he says, I saw a child playing with a ruby the size of a tangerine.
Oh my God. Well, yes, tangerines.
The bandit had been throwing them away.
But it was green, and it was the sign of tangerines. But
I did bloody tell you.
Anyway. Okay. She took a bite, and don't ever do this. Don't just be walking and you see a fruit and you're like, I wonder what that is. I wonder what that tastes like. Don't do that. Don't put it in your mouth.
The hardest of passes.
Yeah, this is not a good thing to do. So she took a bite, and she also got her friend to do so as well, noting that it was sweet and plum-like. But it was only minutes later that they noticed a burning sensation in their mouths, then burning and tightening in their throats. It worsened over the next few hours until they could not eat and were in quite a bit of pain. This pain was apparently worsened by alcoholic beverages. I don't know why you would, personally, I don't know why you would, eat something that makes you feel this way, and your first thought is, you know
Booze.
what? Let's go drink it off. Why, though? Except pina coladas, but it was probably the milk, they said, that helped with it.
Oh, certainly.
I'm not sure if it's... Because I know, when you have something really hot, the capsaicin molecules, the reason why your mouth feels really hot is the capsaicin, and, milk helps remove those.
Yes,
from your
it's
mouth.
a chemical thing.
So I don't know if it has something to do with the similarity there. It's not capsaicin that's in this. So I don't know if there's a similarity, though, in the structure of how it works.
Interesting. Okay.
But it only helped temporarily. It didn't, actually remove what was happening.
Good grief.
Now, while the swelling and oral symptoms started to go away, the lymph nodes in their necks, and this would be over the next several hours, by the way. It didn't just start going away over a few hours. It took several hours to get to this point.
Okay.
The lymph nodes in their necks became tender and swollen.
Oh, my God.
And when they told the locals about their experience and what they had done, they were met with expressions of horror because the people were like, why would you do that?
Oh, no.
You don't know what this is? Because its reputation is just that.
Yes, they're local, so they know not to eat that.
So.
Yikes, dude.
Now, back to some of the history, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Indigenous peoples of the region where the conquistadors had traveled, and we'll talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah.
Where Christopher Columbus landed and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The indigenous peoples had known about this tree and its toxins long before they showed up with their boats and their poor geography skills and their colonizer ways. Now, the indigenous peoples had been using the leaves of the manchineel tree to poison the water of their enemies and the sap to poison the tips of their arrows. So they've known they knew about a lot of stuff with this tree. They've been living there for a while, so of course.
Okay.
One of these poison arrows was reported to be the cause of death for Juan Ponce de Leon.
That's what killed him?
Yeah. The dude from the late 14th, early 1500s.
The Fountain of Youth.
Yeah. Who came to Florida to search for the quote-unquote Fountain of Youth. It's that's actually more of a myth, though.
Oh.
We don't know, his youth fountain finding goals were only written about after his death, so I'm not really sure how true he was trying. I don't know.
So that's not confirmed. It's just.
It's just a story. Don't know really for sure.
We were literally taught that that's what he was doing when we were in school.
We were taught a lot of things.
Sure.
That we learned later were not factual. So
the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Oh my God.
Also, good luck doing your taxes.
So the mitochondria is more than that, but we won't go into that in this episode. Okay. Now, back to this. I'm literally thinking about the mitochondria right now.
Of course. The Mitochondria's Almanac, another podcast we do.
So I don't want to go into a great detail on Leon's life because because it's a lot, and I'm not gonna. I read through it because I went down this rabbit trail online. I was just reading through. You know how you get caught in something, and 2 hours later you're like, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be doing this. That's where I was. But I'm just gonna hit some highlights. Okay. So he joined Columbus on. You know what? Let's go back. No, we got to go back further. I must start further. Yeah.
I must go further back.
Yes. He was born in 1460, though it was previously thought it was closer. Okay. It was thought he was born in 1460, but now we think it's closer to 1474.
So he and Columbus are contemporaries.
Yes.
I didn't know that part.
So we only have in terms of when he was born, we have more estimates, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But he did join Columbus on his second voyage to the New World, the quote-unquote New World, at 19 years old. They left Spain in September 1493, and they arrived to the Caribbean in November of 1493. So that's some quick sailing, just pop right over.
Not bad, considering.
Now, they finally stopped in Hispaniola on the coast of an island the natives called Borican. the land of, which means the land of the valiant and noble lord. This would later be Puerto Rico. And I believe these natives were the Taínos peoples. Peoples.
These are indigenous folks.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. By the early 1500s, he was a top military official in the colonial government of Hispaniola and had stopped a rebellion of the Taínos people. They basically were subjugating these people.
Right.
So So the crushing of this rebellion occurred actually after I want to say it's Uragua massacre. Am I saying that right? Uragua? Is the J more like a... Okay. And both of these were authorized by then governor of Hispaniola, Nicolas de Ovando. And this massacre, the Uragua massacre, came about after the governor told their leader, Anacaona, that he wanted to visit to celebrate their good relations. And during this celebration, Alonso de Ojeda and 300 of the Spanish dudes tricked the chiefs that were present and bound them in a tent while they butchered everyone outside.
Oh, God.
Just trigger warning.
Yeah.
Here, but they butchered everyone, including children.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the chiefs were burned alive and Anacaona was hanged. I hate people.
That's so awful.
But yes, but Leon was actively involved in another massacre after this. He was not directly involved in this one, but he knew about it.
Yeah.
Now, Leon was the first governor of Puerto Rico and given authorization to conquer and exploit/enslave the remaining natives, because that's what they did. He got married to a woman named Leonora, and they had 4 kids, blah, blah, blah. The house he built there still stands, had built there. He didn't build it himself. Still stands near San Rafael del Yuma.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I'm just hitting the highlights here. In 1513, Leon discovered Florida, named it La Florida.
No.
The native Calusa peoples.
The first Florida man.
Yeah. So the native Calusa peoples were like, GTFO. And good for them, because they probably were like, we know these guys are bad news. They're going to try to do the same thing to us as they did to everybody else.
Wow.
And he would later return, and it would be an arrow poisoned with manchineel sap that would cause his death in 1521 at the age of 46 or 47-ish. He got an arrow to the thigh, and they traveled to, I think, Cuba, where he died. They were trying to get away. They traveled to Cuba.
They're trying to
that's
escape.
Where he died. Yeah.
Wow.
And if you've ever been to the Florida Keys, you can actually see Cuba across from where you're standing on the Florida Keys.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's only
that's
60 miles.
Crazy.
It's 60 miles off.
Oh, that's not far.
No, it's not. It's not far off.
Wow.
But yeah, so, and if you're wondering about the guy who helped with that other massacre, what's the word?
Aragua.
Yeah, I don't want to say the wrong word. I'm on the wrong page. Hang on. The massacre, the Uragua massacre.
Yes.
I did some research, and you'll be glad to know that guy died penniless. And yeah, no one liked him. So anyway, just thought you should know that, because I was like, I can't stand this guy.
Fair.
Can't stand him. Can't believe that people let this happen. Anyway. So it was rumored for a time that Captain James Cook's crew had encountered the manchineel tree during his 3rd voyage. You've heard of Captain James Cook.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Different from Columbus, but it feels like they were all the same, because
they were all the same motives.
Everybody was traveling, doing stuff.
Yeah, trying to exploit newfound, destinations and peoples.
Oh, yeah. Going to quote-unquote new worlds and taking them over.
But these people are funded by big money interests who want to make more money.
Well, did you know, I read, is it Ferdinand and Isabella? of Spain. Like Isabella
Yeah.
was actually quite, she told them that she didn't want them exploiting the natives. And it wasn't until after she died that Ferdinand was like, yeah, go ahead.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what I read that recently. And I was like, what a jerk.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I hope I told that bit of history smoothly.
Accurately. Okay.
Well, smoothly, because like I feel like I kept going back to. I went down a rabbit trail and I tried not to, like, pour that rabbit trail on top of this.
Sure.
But
Well
I
played.
was, anyway. So, but yeah,
Interesting,
Manchineel tree. Leon got a poison arrow to the thigh, and that's how he died. That's how he died. Manchineels.
Whale.
Manchineels for the win. Anyway. So it was, like I said, it was rumored for a time that Captain James Cook's crew had encountered the Manchineel tree during their third voyage. The ship's surgeon, William Ellis, wrote that some of the men who were sent to cut down trees for wood must have messed with Manchineel trees because the sap had blinded them for several days. But Cook's voyages had not brought them anywhere near where Manchineel trees grew. So what was it? It's likely they came into contact with something called milky mangrove. It's also called blind your eye mangrove.
Okay.
And it is also...
That's probably it.
It's in the same family. It's in the spurge family. But it's found in India, Southeast Asia, Northern Australia, and islands of the Southwestern Pacific. So it's in a different locale.
Where did Cook explore? I forget.
I know he did like Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, he
did some of the Pacific areas.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't go down as much of a rabbit trail with him because I was running out of time.
Right.
But yeah, I literally wrote in the margins that I hate people next to
You did.
that guy.
I see it now.
I was so mad reading this. I was like, what is wrong with these people? Anyway,
Okay.
terrible stuff in history.
Touche.
Anyway.
Yes, very sad. Anyway.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about another tree that I think if you live in Australia, I'm sure you've heard of this one. This is the Gimpy tree. What?
Sorry. Are you making that up to see if I believe you?
I'm not making it up. It's a cute name, actually.
This is in Australia? Mm-hmm. So it would be said the Gimpy.
The Gimpy.
You seen that tree over there?
Well, the name actually comes from the language of the indigenous Gooby peoples. It's not funny.
Ooh, you're getting blown up, kid.
I am. I better make sure it's not my child. No, it's not. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway. No,
Gooby.
I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Gooby peoples of southeastern
It's
Queensland.
got twice the gooby as the original gooby tree, which is why we named it the gooby tree.
I find their name quite charming. So.
She's a beaut.
Steve. I miss Steve Irwin so much.
Gimpy tree. Twice the gimp as the original gimpy tree.
Look, okay. Steve Irwin's death was the only celebrity death that's ever made me actually cry. I cried. I've never met the man, but
and you're real for that.
I loved him so much. Okay.
He's great.
His kids are great too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're doing, what they love, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, the Gimpy, back to the Gimpy.
Sorry, it's not gonna not make me laugh.
Okay, and it's also known as the stinging tree. It oh Lord, let's see if I can pronounce the species name. Dendrocnide moroides.
Nailed it.
Fun.
I'm an expert. You did it right.
Now, it's found in Australia, but it's also found in Indonesia.
Huh?
It's part of the nettle family, also known as Urticaceae. Does that sound familiar?
It's Leviosa.
Like urticaria. You know what that is?
I don't.
It's a medical term for itchiness. Urticaria.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
I don't know that I've heard that term before.
Yeah, just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Like an itchy rash sort of deal.
Okay.
Now, this is probably the most feared tree in Australia. It can grow between, I don't know why this is such a range, but it can grow between 7 feet and 33 feet high. That's what I read.
That's quite a wide margin.
Well, one source said 7 feet, and then one was like, oh, it can grow up to 33 feet. And I'm like, that's a very big difference. I'm going to include both those numbers.
Interesting.
So yeah, if you live there, what's the biggest gimpy you've seen?
Sorry.
Just let us know.
That's the biggest gimpy I've ever seen.
It has really cute heart-shaped leaves. It does, but you don't want to touch these leaves. It also produces fruit that looks like raspberries. Don't want to touch those either. The whole tree is covered in tiny silicone hairs that act like tiny hypodermic needles containing a very nasty neurotoxin.
Okay, that's just over the top.
Now, these little hairs
calm down.
These little hairs are called trichomes. I didn't look too much into that word. I just called it tiny silicone hairs because it...
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, for a long time, we had no idea what the toxins were made up of, just that it was a stable cocktail of toxins. So, however, in 2020, terrible year, researchers identified a family of disulfide-rich peptides similar to some toxins found in cone snails. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what exactly do these toxins do? They cause intense, long-lasting pain.
And goobies.
I'm sure they stay away from them. If any part of the tree, the leaves, branches, fruit, etc., is touched or accidentally brushed against, the tiny needle-like hairs break off into the skin, releasing their toxins.
This is too much.
Yeah.
It feels premeditated.
Also,
somebody angry made this thing.
Also, you can be wearing like a mask and like protective gear, and it could still like get through some of that.
Oh, I hate it.
Lovely. Now, the hairs are so tiny that they cannot simply be removed, and the silicone that they're made of does not break down in the body.
I mean,
easily. So
what?
Yeah. Now, the toxins are so stable that even dead or fallen leaves or ancient, like old lab specimens, like centuries old, they can still inflict the same pain if touched.
What?
Yes. You actually don't even have to touch it to be affected, because the tree is constantly shedding its hairs, and if you are nearby long enough, you could inhale them, causing pain and swelling in the airways, or get them in your eyes.
See, this...
Ouch.
I cannot imagine getting that in your eye. This proves the old... This like a cliche for Australians that everything in Australia is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And here it is. It's true.
But, I mean, the manchineal tree is in Florida, and it's trying to kill you. People say that Florida is...
Yeah, but this sounds more like more ways to just, you know...
I've heard that Florida is the Australia of America.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. If you just airdropped some Floridians into Australia, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool, Florida."
Yeah. Why is that gator so big? Sorry. Anyway, so after contact with the plant, also it can, like I said, it can get through some protective clothing. A person can expect to feel immediate and severe burning and stinging at the site.
And anger.
Oh yeah, I'd be pretty mad too. This will intensify and will last from hours to several days or even weeks before it slowly subsides. But it can also cause hives and your lymph nodes to swell. Now, the hairs can stay in the body for a year or more, and the pain can come back that long after if triggered. So you can, like, years later, you can feel it if triggered by something like touch or temperature changes or water hits it or something like that.
This is the worst.
Yeah. So in some cases, the shock of the pain is so bad, it could lead to a heart attack. So
the pain leads to a heart attack.
Yeah, well, you know, pain can make your blood pressure go up, make your heart rate go up. Pain can be really awful.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So one story told of a soldier the soldier's name was Cyril Bromley. He fell into a gimpy during training in 1941. You got to stop laughing.
You were laughing first.
No, I'm laughing because you laughed. Gimpy. Gimpy. It's the name, okay? It's cute. He fell into one during training in 1941.
Fell into what?
Gimpy. And he had to be tied to a hospital bed for 3 weeks because of the pain.
That
it was driving him mad.
unreal.
Yeah, it drove him mad, basically. Another soldier was said to have been driven to suicide after being stung by the tree because it was so bad. And there's actually been several stories about horses, like, fleeing themselves off of cliffs after being stung. And there are some animals in the area that are, I guess, immune to its toxins, and they actually feed on the plant. Like some indigenous birds, bugs. There's a few mammals like the red-legged pademelon that feed on it, which is kind of crazy to me because
I cannot imagine something eating this thing.
Yeah, it doesn't affect them. So
what?
Now, in 1963, a conservation officer with the Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service named Ernie Ryder was smacked in the face, arms, and chest by one, and he described the first 3 days as unbearable. So much pain that he couldn't work or even sleep. And the next 2 weeks was really bad pain as well. And even after that, some level of pain lasted for 2 years, recurring every time he had a cold shower.
What?
He said, these are his quotes, "There's nothing to rival it. It's 10 times worse than anything else."
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Others have described the pain as like being burnt with hot acid and electrocuted at the same time. And some have also had severe allergic reactions.
On top of what the poison naturally does,
Yeah.
This is so intense. But it seems like it's so much further beyond just an evolutionary adaptation. It just feels intentional. Like somebody's pissed off.
This tree is.
This tree's pissed
The
off.
Gimpy Gimpy is pissed off.
They should call it the Grumpy Grumpy.
The Grumpy Grumpy tree. Now, the only treatments that have helped is using hot wax strips to rip out the hairs, but it doesn't always work completely.
Right, because they're microscopic, aren't they?
Yeah. And I've also read that some have used diluted hydrochloric acid on sites but it only helped temporarily. Like if it's so bad, you're going to pour acid on yourself.
This sounds like agony.
Yeah. So don't touch the Grumpy Grumpy tree. But yeah, that's the Gimpy Gimpy tree, and it's pretty well known over there. So
I'm physically exhausted hearing about
Australia, and you go to Australia, learn where these are and what they look like, and don't go near it.
Wow.
Because they look innocent. But even the fruit and the stems, all of it's covered in these hairs.
Unreal. Okay.
The trichomes. Okay, now we're going to go to, let's see, India and Southeast Asia. We're going to talk about the suicide tree, also known as the pong pong tree. It has other names too, but these are some of the more common.
Oh.
Cerbera odolum is its species name.
Okay.
Genus and species. It grows in swamps and along riverbanks in southern India and in Southeast Asia, and it belongs to the, these family names, Apocynaceae family. Apocynaceae? I think it's Apocynaceae family. And it is a cousin of the oleander, which we've talked about recently.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
That was last episode. No.
A couple episodes ago, I think.
The episode, the next episode that will come out.
Or did just come out. With Foxglove.
Yes, it's already out. All right.
So yeah, we've talked about that one a little bit. Now the seeds are excessively toxic, containing cerberin. And I don't know if that name sounds familiar. Cerberin. Then the genus name comes from Cerberus, which is
three-headed dog.
The three-headed dog with the snake for a tail.
Oh.
That was the guard of Hades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's unsettling.
Well, it just so happens that this is also the dogbane family, so it's kind of funny because it's Cerberus.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, there we go.
Anyway, so just wanted to put that out there. Now, cerberin is a cardiac glycoside. That should sound familiar.
It does.
Having a similar mechanism to digitalis, and there are enough cardiac glycosides in each seed to stop the heart in 3 to 6 hours.
Oh.
For those of you who don't remember what these cardiac glycosides or how they act, the mechanism of how they act, they block calcium ion channels in the heart, which can cause fatal arrhythmias.
Yeah.
A lot of times this one will occur with bradycardia. Basically, the heart just starts beating really slow and just, you have an arrhythmia and death. So
Right.
not fun. It has narrow, dark green leaves, similar to those of the oleander, and pretty white flowers that apparently smell like jasmine, which is deceiving.
Oh, wow.
And it produces a fleshy green fruit, like small unripe mangoes. Like the shape is similar to that of a mango.
Okay.
And the flesh inside is white until exposed to air when it darkens. Kind of like if you open an apple, I think like if it's exposed to air, it darkens over time.
Right.
So, now this tree, or more specifically its fruit and seeds, is responsible for approximately 50% of the plant poisoning cases and 10% of total poisoning cases in Kerala, India.
Kerala.
Huh?
It's Kerala.
It's Kerala?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We've had many friends in the past who were actually from that part of India.
Kerala.
Kerala.
My
Yes.
bad.
Uh-huh.
Kerala, India. In fact, in the state of Kerala, the total number of deaths between 1989 and 1999 due to this tree was 537. It's a lot.
That's a lot. Wow.
Now, the suicide rate there is about 3 times India's average, with nearly 100 attempting suicide and 25 to 30 actually succeeding every day.
But just in general,
Yeah.
the suicide rate?
Of this particular area.
Okay.
So, yeah. So there, nearly 100 attempt suicide every day and 25 to 30 succeed, is what they're saying.
Is that connected to?
This tree.
Oh, because they've been exposed to that tree?
Well, no, they choose to die by suicide, and a lot of the time it's using the seeds of the fruit of this tree.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
That's, wow.
Yeah. So now,
Because it's readily available there.
Now, I say death by suicide, but because Cerberin is hard to detect during autopsies and the taste of the poison can be hidden with strong enough spices like curry,
Oh my
it has
gosh.
also likely been used for homicides as well.
Okay. It just got interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to tell how many of those are actually suicides, how many are homicides at this point.
Wow.
Now, the signs and symptoms of ingesting this, the seeds of this fruit, would be burning in the mouth, violent vomiting, irregular breathing, headache, irregular heartbeat, coma, and death, usually in like 1 to 2 days. I've actually read there was even it's mostly women that use this to die by suicide. So, I didn't really look into a lot of the culture in this area. I don't know how women are treated in this area, so I'm not sure how that works. But
wow. Okay.
It wouldn't be surprising to me if they were choosing this over having to be married to someone who was.
That's incredible.
I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know for sure how that.
Well,
how
we've
that
talked
works
in the
there.
past about.
I haven't looked it up.
Yeah, we've talked in the past about how a local Catholic priest would readily provide poisons to women who were in abusive or toxic marriages, so that they could poison their husbands.
Yeah.
So this is like another side of that same coin.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's just me speculating.
Right.
I'm just putting that out there. Yeah. Also, so these symptoms tend to resemble a heart attack, and so it's kind of hard to tell. Did they die by heart attack or did they?
Wow.
Have this. So now a French toxicology team led by Yvonne Gaillard helped this Indian team with using high performance liquid chromatography along with mass spectrometry to examine autopsy tissues samples to find traces of this toxin, and they uncovered homicides that would have gone unnoticed.
Oh.
So some cases of suicide, like I said, may have also been homicides. So
wow. Crazy.
Yeah. Now, a related species of this tree, Cerbera venenifera, it's also called Cerbera manghas,
Okay.
also known as the sea mango, is found in Madagascar. And its poison was used as an ordeal poison. Do you know what ordeal poisons are?
No.
There's been, in different parts of the world, they would use these poisons in trials to see if you were a witch or like a criminal.
No, not that again.
Yeah, they would be like, hey, if you take this and this happens, you know, they did all kinds of stuff to figure out who was a witch and who wasn't a witch and all this stuff. Even during the Salem witch trials, it was like, well, if we dunk her in there and if she drowns, then she wasn't a witch. But like, yeah, but now she's dead. Seriously? Okay. Anyway.
God bless America.
Right. Well, this has happened in other places too.
Right.
This particular one was in Madagascar. It was an ordeal poison to test suspected witches or criminals. It was given with 3 strips of chicken, and if the person did not vomit it back up with the chicken, they would be found guilty and executed. Not cool. Not cool. This was around during the Marina Kingdom's rule, it said. They called them the Tangina trials. Now, during its peak, these tests were responsible for the deaths of an estimated 100,000 people, mostly by execution, because either they died by the poison or they were executed.
That's a lot of executions.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, if you're given this poison and it kills you, isn't that an execution too?
That's fair.
Kind of. I mean, anyway. So the practice was eventually banned sometime in the 1800s, thankfully. But they're not the only group of people to use ordeal poisons. I'm pretty sure, even if you look in the Old Testament, there's like ordeal type trials where, like, I can't remember where it's at now, but there was a time where it was like, oh, if this woman drinks from this thing and this happens, then she was definitely cheating. So it was something weird. I'm probably getting it totally wrong. It's been a long time since I've read the Old Testament, but they did it there. They did it in parts of India. They've done it in everywhere.
Jeez.
So have gone through this sort of thing. Okay. Now we're going to talk about probably my favorite tree.
Ooh.
This tree is...
Your face is so happy looking.
This tree is a whole mood.
Okay.
Okay. It's called the sandbox tree.
The sandbox tree. Okay.
Also called the monkey no climb tree for good reason. Also known as...
Who calls it that?
Also known as the dynamite tree or the possumwood tree.
But I'm going to go with monkey no climb.
Scientific name is Hura crepitans.
Crepitans? Crepitans.
It is
Crapiton, which you will if you eat some of this tree.
Actually, yeah, that's true. It's a good way to remember it. Now,
all right, good episode. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Now,
Crapiton.
It's actually hot in here. I'm gonna take this jacket off. So it is part of the spurge family, just like the manchineel tree was.
I mean,
let's see if I can say this again. Euphorbiaceae. Oh my God, I said it worse that time. Euphorbiaceae.
There's literally no way I could tell if it was worse. You could just pass it off. There it is.
Okay. This is one of the largest trees of Central and South America and the West Indies. It thrives in tropical settings. Now, it reaches up to 100 plus feet and can be about 3.5 feet in diameter.
No, that's just obnoxious. You need to be a little smaller.
Well, you're going to love this.
Okay.
It is covered from bottom to top in sharp spines all over.
And it's 100 feet tall. You
want to see a picture of it?
I'm getting back on the plane and going back up.
Oh, it's not the worst thing about it, though. It's amazing. Let me show you.
I can't even.
I'm going to put this obviously on Instagram, but let me just show you what I'm talking about because I feel like you need to see it to understand.
The Crapiton tree.
The Crapiton tree. Sandbox tree. I like how it thinks I'm trying to buy a sandbox when I look this up.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's just...
Do you know why it's called... Now you know why it's called the monkey no climb? You don't want to climb that.
It just looks angry.
Don't climb that tree. Yeah.
Like, as soon as you look at that, it's like level 40 difficulty.
Yeah, so Maybe it just doesn't like to be touched, you know?
Okay, well, now you're relating to it a little too much.
It also has large poisonous leaves and brilliant red flowers. And can you guess why it's called the sandbox tree? I'm just curious to see if you can guess why it's called the sandbox tree.
Sandbox. No.
Well, I thought you would come up with something really funny. But anyway, it's called...
Sorry, I'll let you down there.
It's called the sandbox tree because of the use of its ripe pumpkin-shaped fruit. It's like little bitty pumpkins.
Okay.
And the pumpkin-shaped fruit is about like 3 inches in diameter, so it's not like pumpkin-sized. So it's like small.
Yeah.
And they used to use it as a container for sand used to blot ink when writing. So like they would take their little quills or their whatever and they would blot it, or if they wrote a letter, they would sprinkle the sand on the letter to blot the ink. They would keep it in these like little dried out
it functioned as like a little reservoir for the
yeah.
Oh, clever.
So
the
sandbox tree. That's where the term comes from.
But you got to wait for the fruit to fall to the ground.
Oh, it doesn't just fall. I'm not sure how they got it then, but let me tell you what this tree does.
Okay.
So the pumpkin-shaped fruit, like I said, is about 3 inches in diameter, and it is actually like a grooved seed pod. So there's like 15 or 16 grooved sections around it.
Okay.
And when they're dry enough and it's hot enough, these seed pods literally explode. That's why it's called the dynamite tree.
What?
Yes. Now, the sound actually sounds like a gun firing. It's that loud. It's very loud.
Okay.
And it can send these seeds at up to 240 kilometers an hour, which is about 150 miles per hour.
In like what direction? Just any?
Yeah. Now, yeah, and it can shoot them up to 100 to 300 feet away. So if you're standing nearby, it's probably not going to go well for you because it's not going to feel very good.
Has anybody been injured by?
I couldn't find anything about that, but I think a lot of people in this area stay away from them.
Well, yeah.
Part. And they do have like signs up like, hey, yeah.
Not responsible for falling.
Not that they would be anyway. I mean, yeah.
Jeez,
maybe don't go near this tree.
300 feet away, you said?
Up to, yeah. I mean, like that's on the extreme side.
That's crazy.
I think the average is about 100 feet probably. Now,
okay.
Yeah. Now, it does this because it's an effective way to spread seeds as it doesn't rely on outside sources like animals. It doesn't rely on them having to come and pick through them, or also like doesn't have to rely on the wind. It literally just blasts its own seeds everywhere.
What is that plant that as it nears the end of its life cycle, it grows the huge spire or
is it the agave?
Spire.
Is it agave?
The agave plant.
I think so. Let me check it.
But it does that in order to spread its, to propagate itself. That seems so much more low key.
Yeah, I think it's the agave plant. It grows like that spike.
Crazy. Yes.
Really tall. And then after that, it's dead.
It's like 10 times the height of the typical.
I think it's called bolting. Is it called bolting? Because I know like whenever I grow parsley, after a few years, it bolts and just dies. Mm-hmm. But then it spreads. If it spreads, then it grows in other containers. Because right now I have a whole different container that I've never grown parsley in, and it has parsley in it.
It's spread it over there.
Yeah.
It's so amazing that the plants do this.
It could be called something other than bolting, but I know bolting is a term.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. They're pretty cool plants, though.
Okay.
They grow those really tall things. All right. But yeah, it can, like I said, it can sound really loud. It's like a bang.
All right.
Kaboom. Kablooey.
Grumpy.
Yeah. Now, this also reduces competition because it can spread its seeds pretty far.
Yeah, because it kills every other tree.
It doesn't kill them, but it just grows.
He wanted to spread his seeds where I wanted to spread my seeds, so I shot him.
Oh, my God. Now, obviously, like I said, anyone or any livestock could be injured if nearby. Don't want to stand really close to this buddy. Now, it only does this when it's really hot and dry. So, like, it won't do it at night. Typically, it's going to do it at a certain
You said it
season.
happens when it dries out.
This fruit itself, like, it loses its moisture pretty quickly. And then when it's hot outside. Boom.
Okay, so it's got to be creating It's got to be pressurizing gas somehow to create propulsion. Is that what's going on?
I mean, it gets hot.
I'm about to go.
Dehydrated.
I'm about to end up on a Google
the pressure,
rabbit hole.
I imagine, yeah.
There's got to be video footage. Somebody's got to
It's basically shrapnel coming off this tree.
But that implies an explosion or an extremely fast depressurization.
Yes, well,
it's got to be propelled by gas. It's not water. It's not fluid because it's dehydrated. It's dry. Somehow it's pressurizing. I got to figure that. Yeah, I'm going to look this up later.
You're welcome. Now, the fruit of the tree is also poisonous, of course.
Why not?
It causes nasty symptoms like severe cramping, vomiting, and diarrhea.
Ayo, crap a ton.
Yeah. Now, there have, believe it or not, been some alternative medicinal uses in the past of this plant. So, like, different tribes have used it for different things that live in that area.
Okay.
So, do not try this at home, though. Please. These were probably made by practitioners who've dealt with this kind of stuff a lot. So don't just go like, you know what, I'm gonna try this.
Your Honor,
so,
we told them.
And I don't think you can look this stuff up and buy it, but you know what, you might be able to, knowing the internet. So oil from the seeds has been used as a purgative. You know what that is? It helps you throw up.
A purgative?
Purgative.
I have never heard that word.
So you like purge anything you
Oh, it's based on the word purge, purgative?
You basically, anything that's in your stomach.
So we're pronouncing the G differently in the adjectival.
I'm just kidding.
Is that connected?
I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Purgative. Or purgative?
Purgative?
Is it purgative or purgative?
I don't know. I want to say purgative.
These are the deep questions of life.
Purgatory.
Purgatory.
Let's look it up.
Oh no. I don't know who I am anymore.
Hang on.
Grumpy.
It's purgative.
Purgative.
It is purgative.
Okay.
I got it right, you guys.
Purgatory. What's
think
the connection there?
It might. Maybe you have to purge yourself of your sins in purgatory.
Possibly.
It probably comes from purge.
Okay. Anyway, as you were.
Yes. So the leaves were said to help eczema at one point. I don't know how that works, because I would think it would cause...
That sounds like a whole load of bullcrap.
Also, the extracts were once used to treat things like rheumatism and intestinal worms. I would think so, because if it makes you have diarrhea, you're just pooping them out. I don't know.
Not long from now.
Like I said, don't try these at home, kids. Now, the sap of the tree is also poisonous.
Of course it is.
And was or is used by indigenous people as an arrow poison.
I just want to get thrown a curveball one time where you're like, now the sap of the tree is actually used to make Ticonderoga's pencils, numbers 2 and 3.
Actually, you know what? We'll talk about a tree in just a minute that does something cool.
Okay.
It can cause temporary blindness, the sap, if it comes into contact with the eyes. Sound familiar? And it may also cause a nasty red rash. The sap has actually been used to make tear gas bombs in some places.
Okay.
So, lovely. Now, this tree was actually introduced to Western Africa and Tanzania as a shade tree, but it has since become quite invasive. I don't know why you would introduce this tree anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you want this as a shade tree?
That doesn't make any sense at all.
It explodes. Like, that's pretty.
It's so unsettling to look at.
I like it personally. I mean, I wouldn't like touch it.
I don't take this the wrong way. You're really strange.
I am. I think it's a cool concept for a tree. I do. Like, if you're playing D&D one day, and you're like, oh, there's a forest of these trees. How cool would that be? Like, you gotta like.
And one of your characters is, of course, a monkey.
Sucks for him. Anyway, yeah. So.
Any dungeon master worth their salt is going to put the monkey no climb tree in the way of a monkey character.
As one should.
Game, set, and match, if you will.
Now, the one tree I told you I wanted to tell you about.
Roll for initiative, idiot.
Let me see. I'm looking this one up as I go, because this one is not in my notes, because it's not actually poisonous that I know of.
Okay.
Maybe it is.
Also, it probably is.
Maybe I'll find that out too. It's the Dracaena cinnabari, or
sounds
the
poisonous.
dragon blood tree.
Oh, that's poisonous for sure.
No, I'm just going to tell you why it's called the dragon. It's part of Native to the Socotra archipelago.
Listen,
Archipelago.
if you don't stop mispronouncing these G consonants willy-nilly,
It just came out of my mouth like that, archipelago.
I am going to jump out this second story window.
Part of Yemen, by the way.
Purgative. What are you, an animal?
It's purgative. I said it right the first time.
No, you said purgative.
I said purgative. Go back and listen.
We'll play the tape.
You should.
All right.
Now, it's named this because of the blood-like color of the red sap. But this sap
is poisonous.
No. It can be harvested.
The poison.
Will you listen?
Goose poison.
It's harvested for the crimson red resin called dragon's blood, which was highly prized in the ancient world and is still used today as a stimulant and abortifacient. So I guess it is poisonous.
Okay.
But the Mediterranean basin uses it as a dye and as a medicine.
Also babies.
Let's see.
It's poisonous.
But no, they use the, I thought it was cool because they use the sap for different things. They use it, I think they use it when it comes to.
They used to.
They use it as, no, sometimes they still use it as a resin for violins and stuff.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I am immediately nervous.
So, but you're not going to lick your violin, right?
Yeah, but you come in contact with your, I don't know, it just seems risky.
I think it's only, it might be poisonous if ingested, maybe. I don't think it's going to be poisonous if you touch it.
Okay.
Yeah. The root.
But I'm so on edge about all this because of all the poisonous things we've talked about.
I mean, have you heard that there might be lead in Lunchables? I mean, you've already come into contact with probably so many poisonous things.
Okay.
Look at the world we live in. We've all come into contact with something poisonous without having even realized it.
That's right.
Okay. And if you didn't, your ancestors surely did.
Probably. Anyways, sorry, I'm getting you off track.
Genetically speaking, we've all been poisoned.
It's true. But the dose makes the poison, Rebecca. I don't know if you know this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's all I have. I just wanted to let you know about that tree too, because it was cool.
Purgative.
Purgative. I said purgative the first time.
I don't think you did.
You know what? If I'm right, you're going to have to go to purgatory and you're going to have to purge your ridiculousness. So
my ridiculousness.
Enjoy that. Go back and listen to it. I said purgatory.
Okay.
Purgative.
You said purgative. That's what sparked me.
No, I said purgative, and then you were like purgative, and I said purgative. Just go back and listen to it.
And which one is it? I forgot now.
It's purgative.
It is purgative?
Purgative.
Okay.
Positive.
Okay. All right.
It's purgative.
Great stuff. All right. That's it for this episode, everyone. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.